Ladies and gentlemen, yeah, welcome to episode 2, which is one of the most prominent show that I've ever done. So I've got one of the most important guests on the show. So ladies and gentlemen, let me not waste your time. Let me introduce you to Mr. Mogale, which is the founder and the chairperson of the Freight Logistics South African Association, which is the council member for the Department of Transportation and its BEE Charter Council Road Freight Subsector Cooperation Co-Champion, which is the DOT Maritime Task Force Value Chain and Industry Collaboration Champion. So I just wanted to say, guys, this is a very, very important guest that I've ever had on the show. So guys, please take your time, listen carefully, enjoy the interview. This is going to be a very fruitful interview. I can promise you on. So yeah, guys, it's a matter of we connected via Skype. So yeah, guys, I hope this is really going to be one of the best interviews you've ever watched. So let me take this time and introduce you to Mr. Homoto Mogale. Uh, welcome, sir, to my podcast.
Thank you very much, Likona. Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah. So let's start afresh without wasting no time. Can you please just tell us the business that you're currently doing at your industry?
Thank you very much. My name is Kumuto Mohale. Let me just introduce myself once again. One of some of the position I'm holding currently has been said, but then I think now that we are talking to the youth, it is better if maybe I take it and go back a bit so that I should introduce myself fully and say, how did I come here? How did I come to this level? You see, I was just a small young boy who was very much inquisitive and then who wanted to question stuff. Firstly, I joined the nuclear industry, and then that nuclear industry, it was something where black people were not there because I was one of the first black. And then we were first. Our position was the health physics officer, later on to be called the radiation protection officer. You must know that in South Africa there is only one nuclear reactor, and then it is here in Pretoria in Pelindaba. So I worked there, and then I got introduced to a lot of stuff, the nuclear bomb, Nagasaki, Hiroshima, and all of that. So from there, I lost my job there, and then I started from scratch. It was a bit tough because the only nuclear reactor you can work for was that nuclear reactor, so you could not work anywhere. So what I did is I started to study on the logistics side. I did the operations management and logistics. And then as I was studying, I happened to land in OR Tambo. Then I joined Equity Aviation. Then I was there, the cargo officer. From there, I became the controller on the clearing and forwarding side. And then after a long time, and then I started to think to start my own company in 2013. I started Penyo Global Logistics. But now the problem is same as I had problems with me being the first in the nuclear field. Now the black people were not open to go in as business people. So what I did is that I joined in with other black people who were suffering the same. Mr. Gino Del Fafa introduced me to the Association for the Advancement of the Black Freight Forwarders. And then what happened there is that they introduced me to you see, we are in Pretoria, which is the capital city, so it's easy for us to access the national department. So I started championing and advocating in terms of transformation. I did not even understand what is transformation. I learned transformation as I was speaking to people on the BEE side under the DTI, then before it was called DTIC and the Department of Transport. And Mr. Dumisani Ntuli noticed me because I was busy frequently asking. Remember, I did not even understand what is maritime by then, because on the freight forwarding, we were only dealing with cargo that was coming to Johannesburg, that we were clearing sea freight, that we were clearing with Durban. But all this the information that I got now, I did not understand. So now I'm busy explaining the part of the business where I'm got involved and how I came here. So Mr. Nduli took us together with other all throughout the South Africa with other colleagues. So um, we started the South African Maritime Business Forum. Our current chairperson on the integrated transport sector, Triple BE Charter Council, Kumoto Silukane, she was our chairperson. She is the one, that woman God has given her in terms of leadership. So she was leading us there. And then yes, we ended up because we were told that we are just the formulators, um, and this organization is needed to be launched in Durban. So it was launched in Durban, and then I got the position of transformation director. Now let me just go back a bit again in terms of explaining to say what is freight forwarding, so that I should also talk about marine transport or maritime, so that I should also talk about the value chain in general in terms of the opportunities which the youth should go for. But then let me the job Penny Global Logistics, the job, their competitor, our competitor is the likes of DHL, DSV, and all other Safcopanal, Pina, Siva Logistics, all those multinationals, they are our competitors. So we are in this competing with big fish, with giants. But you see, what the reason why we wanted to come as an association, we wanted to make our government aware that we do not have access to the market, we do not have access to funding, we do not have access to capacity development. Capacity development, we are talking about, we do have skills that we need to apply. We can apply skills, we can run our companies, but our problem is that we do not have funding to start to do that. And then you cannot start with funding, you need to get a job. So in the market, you need to get a tender. A tender, like for instance, let me just give you an example. I'm sitting next to Roslyn, where there is BMW. We do have the motor cars. We have BMW, Nissan. We have Ford, a Ford Motor Company. So, if like for instance they want some goods that are coming from the goods that are coming from Germany, like for instance, in the case of BMW. So the clearing and forwarding company like mine takes care of the customs issues, takes care of the whole forwarding. Like for instance, if somebody orders some parts in Germany in a particular town, then we speak to our agents there to do the collection, put it on board the ship, or put it in the flight, and then according as per the clearing instruction, or as per the instruction from the customer. So we do that, and then when it arrives in South Africa, we clear with customs in Durban there, and then we send our trucks, and some containers are taken onto the train, and the train delivers to City Deep, and then we go in Johannesburg to City Deep, and we take those containers. We take those containers and deliver to our clients. So that is our, as agents, that is our 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 responsibilities. We deal with the four modes of transport from the Department of Transport, which is the sea, which is the air, which is the rail, which is the road. So that is where we are now. Because we are talking to the youth, before I proceed to the maritime, I just needed to mention, to say FLSA has been created in order to address issues like access to market, uh, access to capacity development and funding, particularly on behalf of Black people. I must say Black people. although we are saying we give priority to women, youth, and persons with disability. Likona, can I tell you a story? Can I just narrate a bit of a story that has to do with your case? I was discussing with my wife. We are watching. There is a series called Scandal, and then in the scandal, we have seen another young man going to look for work, and then he was competent, but the problem is that they just want women because it's women empowerment. So what he did, the sister advised him to dress like a woman, and he got the job. But that he could not lie anymore, and then that is what he did. Now, your case, I was telling my wife to say your case looks like that one, because now you have got a master's, you went to school, but you can't get a job just because you are a man and you are a black man, and you are previously disadvantaged. I think this is a point as I'm sitting on the Charter Council for BEE that I need to speak to say, I believe that there is a war brewing, because now we will end up having women, our black women, being our enemies, and that is not good. To say a black man did not benefit anything during apartheid. As a matter of fact, many people who were killed were black men. So I think I needed to say that just for now. But another thing, what is the point for our government to say now you guys need to go to school as young people? Because as I speak, those that are looking and listening to me, we've got a lot of graduates that are sitting there. Uh, Andile Mapi, Mr. Christmas, he said some point. They can say they can even dismiss him to say he is mad. But he said 60% of black people are educated and 60% of white people are not educated, but yet they hold the economy. They've got, so why are you sending us to school so that we should come against Sibengabolo food? And then that is some of the things that we need to address from the leadership point of view. Because at the moment, I'm talking to the young people nationally, so those who will access this. But then the issue at the moment is, in as much as we want you to go to school, but I would rather go. I have written. I read a book of Mr. Robert Kiyosaki, and then he's speaking about something there, and then I can tell you now that South Africa is following suit, because what is the point of training 10,000 people, and then after that they have graduated and they don't have job? Why don't you train these 10,000 to become entrepreneurs? Why don't you give them skills and resources to open companies? Why don't you speak to the issue of all our mineral ores that are leaving all our mineral shores that are leaving our shores? Why don't we take whatever mineral that we have? Why don't we manufacture for ourselves all those Axat Kaplans, all those American Swiss that are bringing to the country? Because I'm telling you, South Africa is rich. But then I think now there's bureaucracy and there's red tape from government, and the government needs to repent. They need to open business opportunities for the youth. I'm not talking about we cannot always be employed. We cannot be always joining COSATU. We must be in the association, like this association that I've started, the Freight Logistics South Africa. We must be on the leadership. We must be the one that are controlling the economy because we are the majority in South Africa. Now, let me just say something again. In terms of the FLSA, we participated in most things, and then we have influenced some of the important things that speak to transformation. We started speaking to SARS, and SARS, they advised us that they will be starting something that is going to also talk to the SMMEs, and then we were there, and then Miss Ray Vivier, she took us and then she included us in most of the things that are strategic in terms of the economy of South Africa, particularly on the road freight, when it talks about the issue of 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 um, of cross border, starting from the truck tax lot, where we take goods from the vessel that is bringing in containers and all of this. So road freight is very much active, and it even goes cross border in the SADC region, and then that is good. So they through the leadership of Ray Vivier and the SARS colleagues, SARS Customs and Excise colleague, we were introduced to the RLA, which talks to the licensing of freight forwarders, and all the SMME desk was created in order to help. So I just want to encourage people not to be afraid of SARS. They are not only looking for your tax; they want to help you to make money so that you can pay tax and be a loyal citizen. So, and from there they introduced us to the World Trade Organization, to the World Bank. They introduced us to the World Customs Organization, the SACU, Southern African Customs Union. They introduced us to this body that is busy of the free trade, the Africa Continental Free Trade Agreement. They introduced us to the economy in Africa and what Africa is providing. We just want to thank SARS for the leadership. We participated under the DFFE, the Oceans Economy Master Plan, and then part of that is that everybody was there, and then all of us, decided into how the economy in the ocean will be run, how we are going to take charge of our territorial waters, and remember that this comes before the comprehensive maritime transport policy of the Department of Transport, which was spearheaded by Mr. Ntuli, where he called us for that samba, as I had spoken before. But then, the DFFE, they've come up with this big thing. Now, Saimi has come up with a research, with a study that talks to the opportunities that can be accessed by our young people in terms of business, in the side of oil and gas, in the side of bunkering, in the side of boat building and shipbuilding, in all economic activities in the ocean, to say all of us have got, all South Africans have got that. You remember that the CMTP had spoken that 2030 South Africa needs to become a maritime nation, like the likes of Singapore and all other countries. And there's a lot of opportunities there. So as I have referred before on the Robert Kiyosaki is talking about two things. I know our learned people may say, "I Komoto, you are talking too much." By the way, I also went to school, and then I've qualified. I've got logistic qualification, the diploma, and then I'm busy now with the degree in terms of the customs compliance manager, and then I still want to go for masters and PhD ultimately. But then what he's saying, Robert Kiyosaki, he talks about the rich dad, and then he talks about the poor dad, and the poor dad was not that much poor, but then because he was a professor, he was a learned somebody. But now we are talking about this person who was always playing Monopoly, who was also thinking which industry, which sector, which economy I can monopolize, which is what is happening. They came to our country, they monopolized it. And then they said the black person cannot enter into this sector. They can remember in the older days, the profession was police, nurse, and teacher. But at the moment, all we are saying is that this is our time. This is a time for our young people. Young people, let me tell you, there is CICP. CICP, you go, you register your company, and then you put in your services. You prepare your business profile and then prepare your website and all your marketing, digital marketing. I think Likona will help you with all of those things. And then once you have done that, you can come and join us as a as an association. Then we can help you with the issue in terms of access to market, access to funding, and all of this because they are there. But then at least now we will be having the likes of the Oceans Economy Master Plan that speaks to that, the CMTP that speaks to that, the Maritime Task Force that speak to the value chain, that speak again to the industry collaboration. It means we can end up South Africa doing business among ourselves. And then when the money exchanges ends in South Africa, that is where our economy is growing. That is where there's not gonna be a problem that there is no food in hospital, but then we will be able to. But then that is why I'm saying, especially for the young people, I encourage entrepreneurship in terms of young people, and these young people must really start their own. As a matter of fact, I'm calling in all those that know you. They must come to you so that you can register their companies, and then so that all of them they must go to work, but they must have their own companies into Ibiza inside hustle. So that they, at
Yeah.
the end of the day, when you have signed a tender, when you know exactly what you're going to do, and then I'm talking about the entrepreneurs. I think this needs to be corrected. I'm not talking
Yeah.
about the tenderpreneurs. The tenderpreneurs, they just use a gun, they get that thing, they don't know how to do a job. That is why most in the construction industry, that is why most of our buildings are falling because these people, instead of putting in and buying the material that is expensive, and then they will rather go to quality than to quantity than quality. But then all I'm talking about at the moment is that there is in this trade, there is opportunities.
Okay,
In
okay.
the
So can I ask
maritime,
you a question? Mm.
yes.
Can I ask you a question when you tell like what do you feel about it with this thing of youth and millennials? Like when a lot of us are getting to TikTok, a lot of us are making money on Abo TikTok and some Instagram posting. What do you feel of that this stage and that just this millennial time? Do you think it is a right way? We're making money like someone would just be posting himself wearing some panties and some stuff maybe just to present a brand. So do you think are we not losing our values and maybe our custom as at this stage is taking us more into the internet than maybe to know us, our core values as people ukuthi we can never really do these things in this way. But since there is money, we can advertise any brand that want us to advertise.
I think this is a question of a use and abuse type of a stuff. You see, the
Mm,
fourth industrial revolution, the automation, the artificial intelligence has given a power. Like at the moment, I believe most people will be seeing me. I'm sitting in Soshanguve, and then I've got my phone that is looking at me, and I'm talking to you. You are that side of the country. So what I'm
mm,
saying is that you've got more information. You've got access to that information, which you can use valuably so that you can get out of poverty. But there are
mm,
those that will use it in terms of doing another thing that is unheard of, like pornography and all of this.
mm,
But then I can tell you it's a question of what do you choose? Because what you
mm,
are today, Lukona, is a result of your choices in the past. Otherwise,
mm,
what we must also encourage instead of maybe condemning them, we must tell them that in their hands they've got a tool that can change their lives, and then they've got a
mm,
tool. Some young people who I met, they already got apps. There was another one who
mm,
was saying, "I've got a taxi app like the Uber," and then it was done in South Africa. So what I'm saying, in as much as some are abusing the system or maybe this
mm,
opportunity or maybe this resource, Some are
mm,
using it to the
mm,
utmost potential and gain.
mm, mm. Would you say as maybe it is a good thing for the youth to get into things like forex trading, Bitcoin, and all of these e-commerce things?
I cannot say it is good or wrong, but I can tell
Mm,
you that every entrepreneur, they've got what you call market research. You know,
mm,
you discover a need in a particular place, and then you are saying, I can fulfill, I can supply. So it becomes a supply and demand. That is why people are in business. But the first
mm,
thing you need to go and make a market research. You really need to
mm,
research about all these things. Is it forex trading working? Is it true or is it a scam? Then you need to research on that. Remember that we are also on the central supplier database. Busa called
mm,
us yesterday, and then
mm,
they were teaching us again. There were people from Treasury that were teaching us again in terms of how do you tender, what you need to look for, what are the things that are making sure that you get disqualified. But then there was a question that has risen up to say, uh, why do we have other people calling us
mm,
and pretend as if they are coming from you? They've got our customer code and all of this, and then those people, they said no. As an entrepreneur, you really need to look out into those people who are going to
mm,
make sure that you pay them money while they pose as wrong people. So that is the same. If you have that resource of multimedia, some people, they use this social media to advertise their businesses, and like
mm,
Penyo Global Logistics, it has got a page where we are also advertising. So the Freight
mm,
Logistics South Africa is got a page where they are advertising their services. So if you can
mm,
go, maybe you need to follow those groups that are also always speaking to business. You must choose what you want. You get into the social media,
mm,
you choose who you
mm,
befriend. You choose, because sometimes in my platform, I see some other people, they post pornography, and I remove them.
mm, mm,
You understand?
mm, mm,
So
mm,
I wouldn't say this is a bad thing, but then
mm,
I would rather say, as you get in there, what
mm,
how do you want social media to help you?
mm,
Don't abuse
mm,
it,
mm.
use it so that you can
Okay.
gain.
As a person where I think you have indulged in the both worlds, like you have kind of made it without education. You are also studying now to prove that no, you need education also to be successful. What can you say about the level of unemployment to the youth? Is it maybe the youth getting to the degrees that are full of unemployment with no employment jobs, or it's just South Africa like there is no job for the youth? So what can be the solution to the youth to decrease this rate of unemployment, because even in the future there's no way or possibility that this rate is decreasing. It seems like it's going to be worse.
Okay, maybe let us first start by diagnosing as to what is the problem. The problem
Mm,
is with our educational system.
mm,
Okay, why am I saying this? Um, I do have an NPO where I was doing the career expo. Later on, I did the business and career expos. My argument, I remember I went to town, and then I spoke to the department to say, why is the basic education producing matriculants that are not compatible to study
mm,
a certain degree?
mm,
Why is the higher education producing the alumni, some of them, that are not relevant to the industry or to the corporate? Then
mm,
you will have to understand that that is a problem. Somebody said, go to China. Somebody was telling me in China there is there is none of this competition where they compete about professor who and who. But in China, when they see that you've got those potential, they put you there, and then they make sure that by this particular stage you are able to create the electronics. You are going to make it live, and it's something that is needed by the country. Somebody told me that in Switzerland, the person that dies grade one, I mean, okay, standard one is grade three, is able to interpret the economy of his country, his or her country, and even to tell us in terms of the economy of the world, and come up also with recommendations that if we can do this and that, this is what is going to happen. So what we need, as a matter of fact, in South Africa, is to empower our young people with a skill. Because when you have a skill, my brother, let me tell you, when you have a skill, you can work for a certain company. When you have a skill, you can start your own company, and that's creating more jobs. You understand what I'm saying? But then some people, they go to work and they qualify, and the company only lets them, let's go to the motor industry. They will take you, they say you are in the body shop, and then you know that you are hired to be in the body shop. Some they are in the paint shop. You understand? And then at the end of the day, you will come up and say, "Where are you working?" I'm working for BMW or Mercedes Benz. Uh, when we give you all the parts from Germany, can you put it? Can you assemble it? No, I can't. You understand? So what we are saying is that the more you give them skills, is the more they will come up with innovation, which is something I think we are lacking. But I thank the government because they are starting, they've put together some stuff in order to make sure there are some innovation hub. We have it in the side of Pretoria in the main lane, and then I went to Durban, and then I saw the innovation hub, and everybody was working there. So I think that this is what we need in South Africa, because at the end of the day, I had my friend was coming from Limpopo. He had the BSc honors, and then when he came to Joburg, he was driving a truck. He drove a truck for a long years until he got a job in Pretoria, and that job was relating to his qualification. So that is why I'm saying that is where our government is failing. There are other people. You see, I like the Minister of Education now, Dr. Blayton Zimande, who is putting more emphasis on the TVET. There are other children, my friend, that they cannot read and pass this 100%. But give them something to do with their things, and then they will come up with something you have never known. So I thank our minister because he's got that. So yeah, I think the skills, my brother, we really to
do,
push
do
the
you think
skills.
Do you think the government is putting enough emphasis on in terms of supporting financial, in terms of the youth who are trying to become entrepreneurs? Like there are more youth, maybe you had one in Limpopo, Mpumalanga has tried to do his own cars. There was also one in Zulu who had tried to create his own jug for water, for electricity water. So do you think the government is putting its support to the youth? If some of the youth that are coming up with some great ideas, but because no one really
I
trying to
think the
find
government is
them or to maybe
okay.
So, like next question that I wanted to link to that 2024 will decrease unemployment rate.
Okay, I'm not sure because you were cutting somewhere. I'm not sure if I heard you correctly, but let me just say, the government, in terms of supporting entrepreneurs, our
Mhm,
government is trying, but that
mhm,
is not enough. As
mhm,
I grew up, as I grew up in the side of Mabopane, there was somebody. I believe I still remember the name and the surname, Moses Shekwambane. That
mhm,
person put together an aeroplane with the
mhm,
sheets, and then he was
mhm,
flying the aeroplane, and then he put together a car, and this guy
mhm,
was taken to Germany. And then when he went there, as after he came back, we don't know anything about. So I'm thinking this Moses, together with that one that you are talking about in terms of water, these are
mhm,
the people that we feel they need to be protected in terms of their
mhm,
intellectual property. Patent
mhm,
and control needs to be put together in terms of their ideas. The government
mhm,
of South Africa needs to support them so that they open more factories in terms of living. They must also invite experts from other countries to come
mhm,
and help the company in this side, not the person. Because when it comes to a person, they destroy these people. They take them,
mhm,
they use them, and then after they've taken whatever, then they throw them away, and these people ended up drinking a lot and then dying. So we really need to
mhm,
protect our own.
mhm, mhm.
Understand? But
What, mhm. What is your take on in your PTism also mostly in municipality council because there is a really lot of nepotism there where you find out there are almost 10 people with the same name, and if you find out their qualification it's not really meant for the skill that they are for the position that are in. So I also feel like things like that they really matter to unemployment of youth because those people who are really employed in those positions they are not really have the graduate which for that position. So it's just a matter of nepotism and corruption in South Africa. So what is your say concerning those two issues?
I think previously there was a case of cadre deployment that was being talked about. I think the DA took the ANC to court.
Mhm,
Um, but this thing, I think it is in two ways. Number one, nepotism in government is rife. Corruption
mhm,
in government is rife.
mhm,
I think it is also a political question, and the political will from the side of government to deal with this. But I have
mhm,
seen some stuff where the government is going that side. Let me park this for politicians to answer it, but then
mhm,
focus on how it affects us. It affects the
mhm,
youth in a sense that a lot of graduates are sitting at home, and
mhm,
somebody who's got the political party, what you call a membership card, is getting the job, and they are not able to do the job. In our municipality in the city of
mhm,
Tshwane, the government of the DA have suspended all contracts, and they have said we have hired people to do the job. Let these people do the job. So I think there's still a lot
mhm,
that needs to be done in municipality. But then again,
mhm,
we are business people. I do not want to get too much into
mhm.
politics with regards to the issue. But the truth is, it
Okay.
is affecting our young people. And our young people have
Mhm,
went to school. They cannot go in there because they do not have a certain card carrying membership of any political party, and that is not good.
mhm, mhm, mhm. Let's say maybe just for instance, you wake up, you become the next president of the country. What would you change?
They can tell people can say uh, at the moment, if with the current situation in South Africa, if let's say if I was a president now, what could I do? You know, we are under BRICS,
Mhm,
and then you look at what China is doing,
mhm,
and then we are also part. We have been doing business with Europe and the European Union, and then you
mhm,
can see, like for instance, how Germany's economy got up. You understand? We have had on the Brazil,
mm,
there is somebody that has taken the economy. In Africa, we have Rwanda. Kigali took that economy and make it work. Then I will go there and learn. And in
mm,
South Africa, the problem is that even if our president wants to implement some other things, those things need to go to the NEC. They need to go to the Twilly House. When they go to Parliament, they need to be debated. And some of the things. So I think it's not as easy as it sounds. But if I was the
oh,
president, the only boss, I can do. I can employ the economic strategies of the likes of China and even Singapore in terms of maritime.
So do you believe
Yeah.
which maybe the reason in terms of the politics, the power is so much escalated even to like if you want to take a decision, it has to go through DA, some EFF. So do you believe which maybe if the this democracy was also affiliated with a lot of maybe minimalism in terms of the president and what decision he took for the country, would it be a better idea if it was that way?
Yeah, I think another thing that we need to put so that we need to understand how democracy works, so that we must also understand how South Africa works, because South Africa we have judiciary, we have parliament, we have the executives,
Mm,
and any law needs to be debated in parliament, and because its law needs to be looked at by the constitutional uh, or the justice minister, the justice, and if it is okay, then the president will come and sign it.
mm,
You understand what I'm saying? That even the president of the ANC, everything that the ANC wants to put forward, it would be put forward and debated. Then he can
mm,
sign it into law. Because you
mm,
must remember that 20 years the deaf people have been fighting that their language should be one of the official languages. It's only after
mm,
20 years that the president is signing it in now. So it's not as easy as it sounds. But there are
mm,
decisions that he can make as a president, like like
mm,
like 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 in the issue of our educational sector, in the issue of our skills and the trade on the DTIC. These are the things that
mm,
he can change himself. I think he's got that power to change so that everything, like at the moment, it is the president of South Africa that gave our ministers in this way Chikunga the power that the transport triple BE Charter Council needs to be formulated, and then she has done that and given them that
mm,
they must work through the sector codes, and then you have had the Salam gauge that has attacked to say the Department of Transport needs to work on that. So we are busy working on that so that
mm,
the sector code should allow people like the young people to get that access to the market and to do business
mm,
with it. Yeah, I think this has I mean just the thing. That's why they say government takes long. Is because there's quite a lot of gatekeepers, bureaucracy, and
mm,
all of this, the red tapes, and then there's also um, you come up with something, it will be debated in parliament and all of this. So everything that has passed parliament and agreement resolutions is there. The president signs into law.
Okay, so for the last as you're going to do the maritime, what are the some of the hindrances since you had the long experience in the maritime and the logistics that you have found, and since you have been saying you have worked upon and you have changed some things, as you were saying you were one of the black persons when you were telling your story. So what are the some of the things that you have found that were very unfair in terms of the black people, and you have managed to change or managed to at least fixed for that could be very beneficial to the youth today.
I cannot take the credit and stand today and say I have changed. But
Mm,
then I pride myself that I was part of the collective that were
mm,
participating in this. Remember that the if I would encourage that your young people, they must have what you call the comprehensive maritime transport policy, and then
mm,
it will first tell you the problem statement. All the problems that you have spoken about is there, and then they come with recommendation in terms of how would we deal with this issue. But let me tell you
mm,
the key things
mm,
that the CMTP was addressing is that South
mm,
Africa needs to own her territorial waters from
mm,
the top of Northern Cape until to the top of KZN.
mm,
That is what. And then people, the multinationals that are making use of our shores and doing business, we want them to have the bank account, even the address in our country,
mm,
so that they must be
mm,
liable to pay tax.
mm,
You
mm,
understand?
mm, mm.
So,
Yes.
and the other thing that we have said is that our government from the DTIC is busy subsidizing a lot of companies that are doing business in our waters. But these
Mm,
companies are not benefiting the locals. So
mm,
we have spoken to say the SEZs and the black industrialist project needs to also penetrate in the oceans economy as it worked in the automotive industry.
mm,
You
mm,
understand what I'm saying? So what I'm saying is that as I have said before that the Saimi is busy with that value chain in terms of what is
mm,
happening, what needs to happen. I think that one needs to be appreciated. So South African
mm.
government is doing something. Is doing
Oh,
something with
mm,
regard. Yes, and then
mm,
I'm happy to be alive at this time,
mm,
whereby a black man is now considered to become the boss
mm,
in his own country.
mm. Mm. I have to say thank you, sir. It has been a very fruitful interview, and I'm so blessed to have you on the show. It's one of my greatest moments in my life. So, with just few words to the youth, especially to the graduate, they who have lost hope in terms of them getting employed in this country. What would you say, just as words of motivation in trying to raise them their energy and their life?
Yes, there was somebody who was once the president of America. If I can quote one of his words, he said, "Do not think about what the government can do for you, but think about what you can do for your government." I think end quote. I think what I am pushing this to is a question of entrepreneurship.
Mm,
That our young people, in as much as they went to school and got qualification, they really need to obtain a skill, open up companies, come up with innovation, and that is
mm,
how we are going to get our economy back. You see, the economic freedom in our lifetime can never be attained by a sword or an
mm,
arrow or a bullet,
mm,
but we really need these skills. It is
mm.
education. We really need these skills so that we can change the status quo, and then so that we can be able. Our government is now helping us with all these policies that are changing, so that we should
Mhm,
access the market, so that we should have
mhm,
access. You see, our banks, our commercial banks in South Africa, they are also not transformed because they are not
mhm,
helpful, particularly to the entrepreneurs. So if the
mhm,
policies are there, they must help. If they do
mhm,
not help, then they cannot always give us loans so that we may eat and get the house and cars. They must give
mhm,
us loans so that we should maximize that money.
mm, mm, mm,
I'm
mm.
I'm looking
Oh,
out of this youth. I'm looking for more rich dads.
with pleasure, sir. I have to say thank you for your time. This has been so humble for me, and hoping I have more questions, but with respect of your time and the platform itself, I would have to say thank you. This is where we're supposed to end for this podcast. Otherwise, I'm very, very blessed to have you on the show, and yeah, thank you for every knowledge you have shared, sir. Yeah,
You're welcome, sir. Thank you very much. And shout out to all
thank
the
you.
youth, the new rich dads.
Thank you,
Okay.
thank you. We may end here.
Okay. Bye bye. Thank you.
Sharp one.